Good morning, distinguished speakers, guests, and all those watching in the audience. It is a pleasure to be holding this Zoom event, which marks the first time that Nowruz is being celebrated at this high level. It is an honor to welcome you to this event hosted by the Conservative Friends of Eurasia, together with Embassies of Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. With special thanks to the ambassadors, Mr. Tahir Tagizaden, Ambassador of Azerbaijan, Mr. Yerlan Idrisov, Ambassador of Kazakhstan, Mr. Adil Bayzalov, Ambassador of Kyrgyzstan, Mr. Masoud Khalifazada, Ambassador of Tajikistan, and Mr. Said Rustamov, Ambassador of Uzbekistan. As Chairwoman of the Conservative Friends of Eurasia, I'm always grateful for your ongoing support and participation. Today, we gather to celebrate the Nowruz spring holiday. Nowruz Mubarak to everyone. We are honored to have outstanding speakers. They are Wendy Morton, Member of Parliament, Minister for European Neighbourhood, the America's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. Ambassador Aigul Kuspan, Chairwoman of the Committee on International Affairs, Defense and
срочно подготовь мою комнату, пожалуйста.
Kazakhstan. Mr. Nuran Niyazaliev, First Deputy Foreign Minister of Kyrgyzstan. Mr. Muzaffar Huseinzoda, Deputy Foreign Minister of Tajikistan. Mr. Sherzod Asadov, Deputy Foreign Minister of Uzbekistan. Baroness Uddin, Nickie Aiken, Member of Parliament for the cities of London and Westminster, Patron of the Conservative Friends of Eurasia. Bob Blackman, Member of the Parliament for Harrow East, Patron of the Conservative Friends of Eurasia. Shaul Belly, Conservative candidate for Mayor of London, Member of the London Assembly. We would like to express our sincere appreciation to our treasured President of the Conservative Friends of Eurasia, the Right Honorable Lord Lilly, who I have the great pleasure of introducing. First, the opening comments. Over to you, Lord Peter Lilly.
Berta, thank you. It's a pleasure to welcome so many distinguished ministers, ambassadors, MPs and peers, as well as a very large number of members and friends from all the countries of Eurasia who are attending online, both from Britain and from their home countries. I extend the warmest Nowruz greetings to you all. As most of you know, but a few people from Britain may not know, Nowruz is a celebration of spring, when nature comes back to life, buds burst into flowers, birds break into song, the sun rises higher in the sky, people venture out of their homes and young people fall in love. But this year, Nowruz is all the more poignant because so many of us are still prevented from enjoying the joys of spring and fall, forbidden to leave town to enjoy the countryside, locked down in our homes, and unable to meet friends or travel abroad. However, we can take comfort from the fact that in years when winter cold lingers on and all the normal signs of spring are delayed, spring, when it eventually arrives, bursts forth in even greater vigor. So perhaps that's all the more reason for us to celebrate this festival now, as we're doing virtually today, and to look forward to our own eventual emergence from the winter of this pandemic. This is a good time not just to exchange greetings and to enjoy the traditional cultural offerings, which we look forward to from several countries later in this program, but also to look ahead. In the United Kingdom, after Brexit, we look forward to strengthening our bilateral ties with all the countries of Eurasia, our trade and investment links, our educational and cultural relations, and our personal friendships. So it's with great pleasure I will now hand over the microphone to Wendy Morton, our Foreign Office Minister responsible for the European neighbourhood, including the countries of Southern Europe and Central Asia. Before entering Parliament, Wendy's career straddled both diplomacy and entrepreneurship. After a period in the diplomatic service, she left to set up an electronics company before entering Parliament. so she's uniquely well equipped to cover both trade and political relations. And in her ministerial role, she recently visited a number of Eurasian countries, about which she may say a word. Wendy, the screen is yours.
Thank you so much, Lord Lilly, for those very, very kind words. And Your Excellencies, Lords, ladies, gentlemen, friends, I have to say it's an absolute pleasure to be with you and an honour this morning. You know, in the year that we've had, with all the challenges of COVID, to be able to come together, albeit virtually, and to celebrate something as important as Nowruz, it's very important that we don't lose sight of coming together. So I'm really pleased to be with you all today. I was just reflecting on some of the chat that we were having just before this event started, and I think it was Colonel Bob referred to the excellent hospitality of Kazakhstan, and I think he possibly also referenced the food. And I have to say, in the year that I've been minister for the European Neighbourhood and the Americas, there's one thing that has really struck me, and that has been the warmth of the friendships and the bilateral relationships that I have been able to build up during the last 12 months. And undoubtedly, COVID has made things more challenging in many ways, but when we are relying on technology in a way that we have never done so in the past before. But I think it still underlies the importance of building up relationships, and also of people-to-people links as well. And Lord Lilly, you mentioned that I had been recently doing some travelling, and you're absolutely right. I was very fortunate earlier this year to visit Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan as well over the course of a couple of weeks. And you know, I have to say I was really struck by the warm welcome that I had. And the way in which people were so kind, and so the hospitality that I was shown was absolutely second to none. I came back home and I did say to some of my office staff, I don't think I need to eat for several days because I have been looked after so well. But what was really important about the visit, and about the connections that I've made in the last 12 months, and I look at the participants on this event today. So many of you I have met, albeit virtually. Some of you once, some of you on several occasions. But I feel that I, on a very personal level, have learned so much more about Central Asia in the last 12 months, about the links, the opportunities that we have as well. And Lord Lilly, you touched on you know, forging new relationships post Brexit. I think that is really important that we do that, and we continue to do that, and being able to participate in events such as this, for me, are very important. And I thank Bota for her organisation of this event, and for the work of Conservative Friends of Eurasia in creating a platform for us all to come together, because I just don't think we should underestimate the importance of events and groups like that. So I feel that I've learned an awful lot more about the region in the last 12 months. My visit to Azerbaijan, yes, of course, it included the high political meetings that you would expect, but I was also fortunate to be able to go to the Hyder Aliad exhibition centre, where I had a quick tour around. And I was fascinated actually by some of the displays there, particularly there was an exhibition of musical instruments, of costume, of culture, and then I went down into the old part of the city and had a walk around the city, saw some of the history, visited a craft centre which has links to here in the UK, which again is another good example of the connections between our two countries. And the other highlight of my visit was I was able to travel around in an electric taxi that was an electric cab that was made here in Coventry. And obviously as a West Midlands MP, that made me particularly proud. But what it does show is the opportunities that I think that here the UK has in terms of business. And Lord Lilly, you touched on my unique background in terms of diplomacy and entrepreneurship. It's perhaps an unusual combination for a member of Parliament, but I'd like to think that it does give me something that I can contribute to the work that I do. But Lord Lilly, an absolute pleasure to be with you all here this morning, and I would just like to end by wishing everybody a really happy and a healthy Nowruz. But thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Wendy. We are extremely grateful that you have taken part today. We appreciate your support. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you for your incredible global work you are carrying out on COVID-19 vaccines. That is just brilliant. Thank you, Wendy, from me and from us all. Our next speaker is Ambassador Aigul KuspanChairwoman of the Committee on International Affairs, Defense and Security, Majilis of the Parliament of Kazakhstan.
Thank you. Honorable peers and members of Parliament, dear colleagues from Central Asian sister nations, Your Excellencies, thank you for your kind invitation. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you for your kind invitation to address this esteemed audience on such a festive occasion of Nowruz, the spring equinox celebration. Lord Lilly, Minister Morton, thank you for your kind words and for your time. I also want to extend special thanks to Chairwoman and co-founder of the Conservative Friends of Eurasia, Bota Hopkinson, for putting together this timely event, which has brought together my Central Asian colleagues and our partners from the British Parliament. It is a great honor for me as a newly elected member of the Parliament to be able to meet, albeit virtually, so many of my British counterparts, including Colonel Bob Stewart, chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Kazakhstan, Baroness Uddin, Nickie, Aiken, Bob Blackman. Today, many countries of Eurasia celebrate Nowruz. What does Nowruz mean for the people of Kazakhstan? Why is it so important? It is an ancestral celebration of the spring equinox and the symbolic renewal of nature. The central themes of Nowruz are the birth of new life and cleansing, bringing the light and warmth of the sun, the soft breeze of spring, awakening all living things from winter sleep, giving people a taste of dairy foods. You see, Nowruz holiday in the harsh life of nomadic peoples, such as the Kazakh, is a sacred day. Festivities include various kinds of competition, such as games, horse races, wrestling, and ITs. ITs is a contest of improvising musicians. Visits to the relatives, members of family, friends, and neighbors are very important also during Nowruz. Dear friends, for Kazakhstan, the United Kingdom has been and remains a partner of choice, an important strategic ally, and in international politics, trade, investment, and tackling global multilateral challenges such as climate change and counter-terrorism. As the chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee for International Affairs, Defense and Security, I look forward to an opportunity to welcome you in Kazakhstan as soon as possible to discuss ways we can strengthen further our parliamentary cooperation. 2021 is an important year for Kazakhstan and all Central Asian countries because this year marks the 30th anniversary of our country's independence. Thank you again to all of you for your continued support of friendly relations between our two countries across all areas of cooperation and for inviting me to speak on this festive occasion. Happy Nowruz, Ulustың ұлы күні Nowruz мерекесі құтты болсын.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Aigul Kuspan, for such an interesting speech, encouraging, and we hope you join us again in the future.
Pleasure.
Our next speaker is Mr. Nuran Niyazaliev, First Deputy Foreign Minister of Kyrgyzstan.
Thank you very much, Minister Morton. Your Excellencies, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to see my colleagues, the deputy ministers, also safe and sound despite the pandemic in the world. First of all, please allow me to offer our sincere appreciation to Lord Lilly and Mrs. Bota Hopkinson and the entire conservative Friends of Eurasia for putting together today's event in honor of the ancient Nowruz, the traditional Central Asian celebration of spring and the rebirth of life. From the heights of the celestial mountains in the heart of Eurasia, I convey on behalf of the Kyrgyz government and the multi-ethnic nation of the Kyrgyz Republic my most sincere congratulations on the best wishes with Nowruz. Let us all live in peace and enjoy prosperity and good health. Together with our good neighbors and brotherly nations across our vast region, the Kyrgyz Republic is celebrating this year the 30th anniversary of our independence and working on further strengthening our democracy, developing economy, and creating new opportunities for our youth. This spring, Nowruz festivities also have a very special meaning as we renew our optimism for tackling the consequences of the global pandemic and together look forward to building back better and emerging stronger and more united and adapted to the challenges of the 21st century. Dear Minister Morton and members of the British Parliament, I would like to take this opportunity to express our admiration for the great achievements of the British scientific and medical community that has led the world in offering the most advanced protocols of treatment of COVID-19 patients and also championed vaccine development and manufacturing. We are most thankful to Her Majesty's government for its leadership in addressing the vaccination needs of the developing countries and spearheading the global COVAX facility. I also congratulate the United Kingdom on the most successful rollout of its national vaccination program. I'm sure that the whole world will be studying your success for years to come. Let me conclude by assuring you that we look forward to taking part in the COP26 hosted by the United Kingdom in Glasgow this November. Climate change put at risk the livelihood of the entire humanity. Together we must find new sustainable ways of life. Nowruz celebrates exactly these ideas of living harmoniously with nature and in community with each other, enjoying in peace the fruits of our labor, and providing our children fresh air and clean water. Ait Marik Bolsun, Happy Nowruz. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Nuran Niyazaliev, and we look forward to working with you in future. Now, I would like to ask, I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Fariz Rzayev, Deputy Foreign Minister of Azerbaijan.
Thank you. Excellencies, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to attend this virtual celebration of Nowruz. I thank the conservative Friends of Eurasia for their efforts to promote this festival of spring in the United Kingdom. As mentioned by previous speakers, Nowruz celebrates the awakening of nature as cheerful days of spring are replacing the gloomy wintry days. This year's Nowruz is very unique in Azerbaijan. In the lead up to each Nowruz in almost 30 years, as a nation, we made a wish that hundreds of thousands of Azerbaijani IDPs would one day return and celebrate Nowruz in their own homes. Our wishes have finally come true. Azerbaijani lands were liberated from Armenian occupation. De-occupation paves way for reconstruction and reintegration and eventual return of Azerbaijani IDPs to their homes. 3 days ago, President of Azerbaijan, His Excellency Mr. Ilham Aliyev, opened the Nowruz celebrations by lighting a ceremonial fire in the ancient city of Shusha. Shusha is the crown jewel of the liberated lands and is the cradle of Azerbaijani culture. President Aliyev has already proclaimed Shusha to be the cultural capital of Azerbaijan. There are also proposals to designate Shusha as the cultural capital of the Turkic nations and Islamic states for the next year. The end of military occupation opens up new opportunities for South Caucasus and neighboring regions. In tune with Nowruz's message of optimism, hope, and revival, we look forward to brighter, safer, and peaceful times ahead. Today's celebration is an important segment of our relationship with the UK. Just a month ago, distinguished Minister Morton visited Azerbaijan to take part in bilateral dialogue. The visit provided a good opportunity to hold wide-ranging discussions on how best we can take our partnership further ahead. Culture and people-to-people connections play a central role in building strong partnership between our countries. This partnership covers wide-ranging areas from political and security dialogue to economy and trade and humanitarian cooperation. The UK is the largest foreign investor in Azerbaijan's economy. Energy links constitute the backbone of overall cooperation. Azerbaijan stands ready to build upon our excellent track record and work together with the UK government to enhance cooperation in areas such as reconstruction of Azerbaijan's deoccupied territories, tackling climate change, development of non-oil sectors, including agriculture, tourism, and financial services. This potential allows us to be optimistic about the partnership prospects. From Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, I wish all of you and your loved ones a very happy, peaceful, and cheerful Nowruz. Bayramınız mübarek, and Karabakh is Azerbaijan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fariz Rzayev, and thank you really very much for mentioning the visit of Wendy Morton to Azerbaijan. And we look forward very much to working with you in future. The next speaker is Mr. Muzaffar Huseinzoda, Deputy Foreign Minister of Tajikistan.
Thank you, Ms. Chair, dear Minister Wendy Morton, dear President Lord Lilly, distinguished members of Parliament, dear colleagues, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me express my sincere appreciation for this precious opportunity to celebrate together one of the brightest, most joyful, and beautiful holiday, Nowruz. It's gratifying to see that distance is not an obstacle to enjoy the ancient Nowruz. It has become a truly festive holiday for millions of people around the world who have celebrated Nowruz for more than 6,000 years, from the Balkans to the Black Sea and from Central Asia to the Middle East. Nowruz is a very special holiday, very bright and very colorful. It is celebrated at a national level with large-scale festivities. This joyous festival of spring encourages people to celebrate the harmony between nature and humanity, as well as being a continuation of ancient traditions, which are highly symbolic. Dear friends, Nowruz promotes the values of peace, friendship, and solidarity between generations, nations, and within families, contributes to preservation of cultural diversity and strengthening of confidence and and unity among peoples and different civilizations. Nowruz is widely celebrated in Central Asia, uniting us even more. It played a significant role in enhancing the ties among nations based on spiritual values, mutual respect, and ideals of peace and good neighborliness, increasing a sense of solidarity, harmony, and mutual support. High moral values and humanistic principles of Nowruz represent collective efforts in achieving the supreme task, strengthening of peace and tolerance, as well as pave the way for ensuring sustainable development of our societies. Nowruz equates joint creative work and coexistence, combining efforts for a common fight against contemporary challenges. Consolidated fight against the COVID-19 outbreak is a perfect case in point. Nowruz has become a synonym for the emerging of a new day, beginning of a new life, and renewal of all living beings, search of new ideas, positive emotions and expectations, arriving of a better and brighter future. Nowruz calls for reconciliation, forgiveness of grievances, purification of souls, opening of hearts, and a fresh beginning to ensure a decent life for the bright future of our generations. So, while jointly celebrating Nowruz, let us hope for a new, fruitful year and better and more interconnected and safer world. May this spring holiday, Nowruz, bring us good health, prosperity, happiness, and peace to every home in this challenging time. Nowruz Mubarak.
Thank you, Mr. Muzaffar Huseinzoda. We appreciate your contribution and hope to have you contribute again. Our next speaker is Mr. Sherzod Asadov, Deputy Foreign Minister of Uzbekistan.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rzayev. I'm acting head of the Department for Cooperation and European countries and European Union institutions. Due to unforeseen circumstances, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Mr. Sherzod Asadov, is currently taking part in an urgent meeting of the government. In this regard, let me read out his congratulatory message. Dear Minister Morton, dear parliamentaries, colleagues and ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to take part in today's wonderful event to celebrate the spring holiday of Nowruz. I express my sincere gratitude to the organizers, conservative Friends of Eurasia, and the diplomatic missions of the Central Asian states in London, as well as the UK Parliament and Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office for their great interest and attention to this ancient holiday. Taking this opportunity, I'd like to emphasize that we are pleased with the dynamic development of cooperation with the UK, not only in political and economic area, but also in culture and people-to-people ties. Just a month ago, we celebrated with great success the 580th anniversary of the great poet and thinker Alisher Navoiy, with the participation of representatives of the UK Parliament, government, and wider public. I hope there will be more and more such cultural events that will allow us to show to the UK public and rich cultural and historical heritage of Central Asia. Nowruz, or New Year, according to the Eastern calendar, is the day of the vernal equinox, which symbolizes the end of winter and the arrival of spring, the renewal of nature and all life being on earth. In the wonderful moment of spring, a man is inspired by the beauty of the surrounding nature. He opens his soul, expresses his deepest feeling and desires, dreams and aspirations. In our region, for the moment, for more than 3,000 years, Nowruz has been celebrated in every family, in every home, as the most desirable, joyful, and bright holiday. Since ancient times, Nowruz has been a symbol of peace, generosity, and kindness. In the days of Nowruz, wars stopped, truth and was achieved. People forgave each other for misdoing and lived in harmony. These traditions and value are still relevant today more than ever. In 2009, Nowruz was included by UNESCO in the list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. And in 2010, the UN General Assembly declared March 21 as the International Day of Nowruz and called it on all countries to make efforts to popularize this ancient holiday in the world. Since ancient times, the people of Central Asia, who jointly turned the valleys of the Sirdarya and Amudarya into a flourishing land, have celebrated this holiday together. Such a good traditions exist even in nowadays. For example, in 2017, during the days of Nowruz, the president of Uzbekistan paid a state visit to Kazakhstan. And in 2018, during the spring holiday, the president of Kazakhstan visited Samarkand. In March 2018, the president of Uzbekistan visited Tajikistan for the first time with a state visit. And this year, on the eve of the spring celebrations, the president of Kyrgyzstan paid a state visit to Uzbekistan. It is also deeply symbolic that on the eve of Nowruz in 2018, the first meeting of the leaders of Central Asian countries took place in Astana, which launched a new format of regional cooperation at the level of state leaders. It can be said without exaggerations, the Nowruz still contributes to renewal and the development of friendly and good neighborly relations between the Central Asia states and closer ties between the people of the region. Sadly, we have to celebrate this wonderful holiday remotely and online due to pandemic that has changed our lifestyles. However, the pandemic has proved once again that in today globalized world, we can tackle the new challenges to humanity only through with the even great cooperation among states and people. I believe with the joint efforts, we will overcome this challenge and again celebrate Nowruz as we used to do it before with a great festivality. Dear friends, on these joyful days, let me wish you all good health, happiness, and prosperity. As the great poet Alisher Navai said it, let our everyday be like Nowruz. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Said Kamal, and for your brilliant speech. And we look forward to working with you and with Mr. Sherzod Asadov in the future. Thank you very much. Next, I'm excited to welcome the ambassadors to introduce their traditional pieces to celebrate Nowruz and its cultural significance with contributions from Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Azerbaijan. First, we have Mr. Erlan Idrisov, Ambassador of Kazakhstan.
Yes, I unmuted myself. Good morning, everyone. Happy Nowruz. It's a great honor and pleasure to welcome you all at this fantastic day. All the speakers before me highlighted the importance of this bright holiday. It's really a a manifestation of purity with nature. This is one of the most ancient holidays. It celebrates the arrival of bright forces of spring, overcoming and overpowering the dark forces of winter. It's not only a celebration with dances and songs and everything, and of course beautiful dastarkhan and table, but this is also when people started to work on land, tilling the land, cleaning the chutes for water channels. It is all the wars, all the sorrows, they were and forgiven, and that's the essence of the holiday. I think in the world of pandemic, we learned so many lessons. Two key lessons were the focus on human health, and of course the health of the environment. We want to salute our British friends who will be hosting the Glasgow COP26 great meeting. We all have to take the lessons of the pandemic and bring purity, happiness, cleanliness to our lives, to the lives of our future generations. Therefore, I am so happy that we have been able to gather so many friends. I'm honored and see that we have more than 100 participants in our event from all corners of the world. And it is such a great honor and pleasure for the Embassy of Kazakhstan to co-host this event. Of course, we are so happy to see our old friends, Peter Lilly, Lord Lilly, Minister Morton, our good friend, Bob Stewart. So I wish everyone the most successful opening of the new year. And of course, we all hope that the post-pandemic world will bring prosperity and happiness to everyone. I thank you once again with this bright holiday. Thank you to our British friends for honoring this ancient holiday. And I wish everyone a happy Nowruz. Thank you very much.
Now we have, I think, Ambassador is going to introduce the concert performance from Kazakhstan. Mr. Rzayev, is it going to be a video? Yes. Yes. Please.
Yes, we have our small presentation to you so that you enjoy the holiday.
Thank you very much.
What is Nowruz? It is a non-religious celebration of the spring equinox and the symbolic renewal of nature. It is believed that Nowruz originates from ancient Mesopotamia. The name of Nowruz derives from the Persian Nowruz, translated as New Day. In Kazakhstan, Nowruz has been celebrated since pre-Islamic times. During the Soviet period, it was declared ideologically inconsistent and was hushed up. It was then formally reinstated in 1988 as a public holiday of Kazakhstan. With time, Nowruz became a symbolic Kazakh New Year. Kazakhs often refer to Nowruz as Olostan Olokuna, which means the great day of the nation. Nowruz celebrates the awakening of nature that symbolizes the triumph of good, the spring winning against the evil forces of darkness that are represented by the winter. The central theme of Nowruz is renewal, cleansing, the coming of spring, and the birth of new life. In the past, Nowruz used to be celebrated from 3 to 9 days. Various kinds of competitions were included in the festive program, such as horse races, wrestling, and Aitas, a contest of improvising poet musicians. And of course, there were many songs, dances, and games. During the Nowruz holiday, it is customary to share one's dastarkhan, or festive table. A special dish, Nowruz koje or yogurt soup, is prepared for the celebration. Each yurt or nomadic tent house would have their own recipe. The only rule for making it was the number of ingredients, 7. The most widely used ingredients include meat, water, ayran or yogurt, which are traditional Kazakh dairy products, and different types of cereals and herbs. Since the central theme of Nowruz is renewal and joy, hence is the tradition on the eve of Nowruz to thoroughly clean one's house, return all debts, and make peace with all. But Nowruz is not only about festivities and dastarkhan. One has to also help the land clear its life-giving arteries, that is, clean natural and artificial water channels, wells and springs, wishing fertility to the motherland. Cultivation, planting, and other agricultural works are to be started. Nowruz celebrations in today's Kazakhstan start on 21st of March and last for 1 month. Many sports and cultural events are held during this month throughout the country. Nowruz has become a loved holiday of each citizen of Kazakhstan and a symbol of peace and unity. Happy Nowruz, and may the new year bring only joy, abundance, and prosperity.
That was brilliant. And thank you very, very much to the ambassador and to the Embassy of Kazakhstan. Now, our next speaker is Baroness Uddin. And she is a first Muslim woman and second Asian woman to sit in the Parliament of the UK, or the United Kingdom. And over to Baroness Uddin.
Assalamu alaikum to distinguished and honorable guests, Lord Lily, Miss Wendy Morton, Bota, of course, distinguished ministers and honorable ministers and distinguished ambassadors, and all participants. So my greetings of peace to all of you. I just simply want to say that I have, with Bota Hopkinson, we have shared history of Central Asia. Although I was born in Bangladesh, I grew up with tall tales of my grandfather, of his tribal heritage, of the ancient land of Eurasia. And me and myself and Bota and Max have shared often our love of the region. And in fact, I just, having listened and looked at the video, I was just wondering whether people like my grandfather and their, his father and his parents have borrowed the tradition from Central Eurasian countries to places like Bangladesh and India, which is, of course, their tribes sort of driven for whatever reason, sort of settled in various parts of the world. And in fact, in Bangladesh, we have always, all my life, celebrated the joy of spring and the blessings of renewal. And it is called Poila Boishak in Bangladesh. And I think India also celebrates something very similar. So we have shared heritage, shared culture, and shared love of the ability to renew ourselves no matter what happens in our lives. So this is an incredible opportunity, and I'm so pleased. I myself have visited Azerbaijan and had the privilege of being guest of the president and the first lady, and I remember it with great deal of love. And in fact, myself and Bota, we were thinking about visiting Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, and I'm delighted to be a member of Uzbekistan APPG, and I was the chair of Azerbaijan APPG, All Party Parliamentary Group. So it's a real honor to be here amongst you just to celebrate. And I so echo the words of Lord Lily, and whom I thank very, very much for taking this mantle on, because it's so important. I've been working with Bota for quite a number of years now on solidifying the relationship, and I've had the privilege of working and meeting all of the ambassadors of the region. And thank you for all the work that you do. And thank you for bearing up and giving us hope of new spring. It has been an incredibly difficult time, and without acknowledging all those we have lost, so many people have lost their loved ones. And I think that, I salute their courage and, pay homage and respect to all of them. I just want to say thank you. And I look forward to strengthening our relationship, looking forward to serving the interest of our common interests for hope and peace and renewal. This is an incredible platform. So finally, I want to express my gratitude to both Hopkinson and Max for this incredible work that they have continued to do. And I look forward to working with Lord Lilly and his team on this. Just leaves me to say, Nowruz Mubarak, may this symbol of peace descend upon our earth. And shukran.
Thank you very much, Baroness Uddin, and it's thank you really for all the appreciation, and we are really honored also to work with you closely on a number of projects. And I would like here to work and to emphasize that you're doing a really incredible work around women economic empowerment, and thank you for that. And our next contributor is from Aigul Bayzalov, Ambassador of Kyrgyzstan to the United Kingdom. Please, Aigul.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hopkinson. Thank you to you and to Lord Lilly, the Conservative Friends of Eurasia, for initiating this event, which we were very glad to support and join. And greetings to all participants who we cannot see here, but we know you out there. I want to wish you all happy Nowruz. Excellencies, lords, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, there's been a lot of said, what is Nowruz? What does it mean for our people? And it's so, we are so happy to share this holiday today with the British people. I have to tell you, Excellencies, that I landed at Heathrow just a couple hours ago this morning, because I spent about 10 days back home, and so I had the chance to celebrate Nowruz with friends and family. And I also would like to second my first deputy minister in expressing admiration of our people, of folks back home in Kyrgyzstan to the United Kingdom. Everyone is watching and everyone is amazed at the success of the United Kingdom with tackling this global pandemic. I also had the opportunity to meet my heads of state and government. Both were enthusiastic for renewing and upgrading the relationship with the United Kingdom. And our president, Sadr Japarov, is looking forward to his visit to the United Kingdom and to Glasgow to take part in COP26 this year, this November. And just a reminder, a year ago around this time, we also were planning to host a few events with both with you and with the Conservative Friends of Eurasia, and so many plans went astray. We haven't seen each other with my fellow excellencies and with our beloved members of parliament, especially, very especially, our biggest friend of Kyrgyzstan in the Westminster, Colonel Stewart. We miss each other, we haven't seen each other, and hopefully soon all the restrictions are going to be lifted and we will be able to join together in many, many more events. I would like to introduce a small musical piece from Kyrgyzstan. It was recorded a year ago in winter by a small young performance. It is a traditional music. It is a folk melody performed on our traditional national instrument, komus. Yes, again, happy Nowruz. Okay.
This is absolutely brilliant. And now we can see how it is so wonderful to see, and a wonderful example to see how Nowruz is celebrated in London in front of the Buckingham Palace. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Aigul. Thank you. Our next speaker is Masoud Khalifazada, Ambassador of Tajikistan to the United Kingdom. To you, Masoud.
Thank you. Thank you, Bota.
Thank you.
Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, friends, good morning. Now I need to be very honest with you. The countries of Central Asia have two problems. Too much history and too much geography. You know, we are big and we are complicated. That's why active interest from UK parliamentarians are so welcome. As shown by this event today, celebrating Nowruz across our region. And special thanks to Wendy Morton for joining us. If you don't live in our region, it's hard to grasp how long and cold and heavy the winters can be. So the arrival of spring, it's an explosion. It's new life, it's new warmth, it's new colors, and boom. And we celebrate it like nothing else. And I remember my own childhood growing up on the Commonwealth. Nowruz was the best time ever. Presents, especially new clothes. Yeah, I agree that new clothes are not normally a boy's idea of a great present. But Nowruz clothes are different. You put aside last year clothes, you put aside last year problems. So you start a new year with looking smart. And children stay up late. They eat too many sweet things. And there are games, wrestling, horses, fighters, dust and sweat. Perfect. And in the spring, here in UK, in Gloucestershire, Uche, the cheese rolling downhill, right? And we Tajiks jump through fire. Children too. And yeah, our health and safety codes are not quite the same as in the UK. And one of the most striking features of Nowruz is its language. Anyone familiar with that area, you know, with orthography and diction, knows that we have a more than generous supply of bad words on their own, but bad words in vivid and surprising combinations. And yet during Nowruz, a miracle happens, and all these bad words suddenly vanish. We are kind and positive to each other. Warm smiles, warm compliments, everyone congratulate each other. The psychological strain, of course, terrible. It doesn't last much longer than a week. So that Nowruz, people affirming life itself. And of course, joyfully affirming life is not popular in some cultures. First, the communists tried to ban Nowruz. They thought it was dangerous, too Muslim. Then we had radical Islamists wanting to ban Nowruz. They thought it was dangerous, not Muslim enough. So here we are today. The symbolism of Nowruz is strong indeed, affirming life itself. And maybe in the greatest sweep of history, our region is enjoying a much longer Nowruz. And we are back, taking our place in the sunshine with our friends around the world. Nowruz Piruz. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Masoud. Would you like to introduce your concert program, please? mean, I felt that I was in Tajikistan for a few seconds now. I think everyone felt the same. Thank you really very much. This is really fascinating and great. Thank you very much. And now we would like to ask our Nickie Aiken, Member of Parliament for Cities of London and Westminster, and patron of the Conservative Friends of Eurasia.
Thank you, Bota. How are you? Good to see you. And thank you for inviting me to be part of this wonderful celebration of your spring festival. I should say Happy New Year to you, I think. And I understand, obviously I didn't know much about this festival until I was invited by Bota to take part. But having just seen the images in the video that you have just shown, unbelievably bright and just such a fantastic celebration, not just of spring, but also of the rich culture that exists in that beautiful part of the world. So I am very touched to have been asked to be invited today. And I know that the celebrations won't be the same as they usually are, because we are still under the dark cloud of COVID. But as we enter this spring, hopefully we can see the green shoots of recovery, and that we will be able to soon meet in person and to enjoy today's festival and all other festivals, because I know how important it is for all of us to get together with family and friends to celebrate the Spring Festival, but all days. And I know that so many people have paid, obviously, the ultimate price to COVID and have lost loved ones. But for those of us who are here, we must remain positive. We must remain together and strong. And this time next year, when the next spring arrives, I'm sure we will all be in a better place and be able to celebrate together. And I wish you all a very, very happy New Year and a happy Nowruz. Thanks, Bota.
Thank you very much, Nickie. Our Nickie, she's well known in Westminster City and cities of London. Nickie, she's doing incredible. I would like just to add that she's doing an incredible job to protect the international standing of London on the global financial and professional services stage. But on the top of that, she's also doing a great work she's doing to support COVID rollout in the United Kingdom. Nickie, thank you very much. You are really working tirelessly every single day, and we greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much. Next speaker, our next speaker is Said Rustam, Ambassador of Uzbekistan to the United Kingdom.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, dear ladies and gentlemen, first of all, allow me to express my deep appreciation to Lord Lily, Bota Hopkinson, Conservative Friends of Eurasia for organizing this wonderful event. And sincere congratulations to all participants of today's event with Nowruz. Nowruz Mubarak. Happy Nowruz. Today, Nowruz is one of the most beloved national holidays in Uzbekistan and is an integral part of Uzbekistan's spiritual and cultural life, and also one of the unifying elements of peaceful and harmonious living in Uzbekistan of representative more than 130 nations, nationalities, and ethnic groups. Nowruz is widely celebrated in Uzbekistan, symbolizing the beginning of New Year. This is a celebration of joy and fun. Therefore, festivities, dances, music performances are essential elements of this holiday and are organized all over the country. And of course, with various kinds of delicious dishes of national cuisine, as well as national sports competitions, are also associated with the celebration of Nowruz and are inherited part of the celebrations. Besides gastronomic abundance, celebrations, and sports, Nowruz is a huge spiritual significance. This is the beginning of New Year and a symbol of renewal. Due to the philosophy of Nowruz as a call for peace and harmony, humanism, justice, tolerance, generosity, and mercy, The UNESCO included Nowruz in the list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The lofty spirit and life-affirming philosophy of Nowruz are consonant with the ideas of the new Uzbekistan, which is being built today through large-scale reforms. In order to provide you with the opportunity to feel celebration of Nowruz in Uzbekistan, I would like to introduce you to a live performance of famous Uzbek musician, Mr. Abdulahad Abdurashidov. He plays nai, or flute, ancient wind instrument with a 1,000-year history. It is made from reed, bamboo, metal, and various types of wood. The nai, played by Mr. Abdurashidov, is made of bamboo from Caucasus by a famous master from Tajikistan. Mr. Abdurashidov has been playing this musical instrument for over 50 years. I was told that he once lost his nai, but found it in 4 years later. And since then, they are always together. Mr. Abdurashidov has a title of People's Artist of Uzbekistan and is the winner of a number of awards from over 20 different international festivals. In 2005, he performed at the Scotland Folk Music Festival. In 2003, former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan personally thanked him for his virtuoso playing his nai. And today he will perform a mix of Uzbek folk music with the support of other musicians from his team. Well, enjoy the performance. Abdulahad Ki, assalamu alaikum, marhamat.
Assalamu alaikum, azizlar. Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи. Good morning.
This is just outstanding. Thank you very much. I would like personally to thank you, Abdullah. How do you say? We are brought up in a way that we really greatly, it is like receiving a blessing from you. And thank you really very, very much for such a wonderful, really, music. It's a great honor, and my personal rahmat. Ulkan rahmat sizga. Rahmat. Thank you very much, Ambassador Said, for such a really outstanding musical performance. We really greatly appreciate it, and it really brought back memories of my childhood. And thank you really very much. Our next speaker is Sean Belly, member of the London Assembly and Conservative candidate for Mayor of London. Sean.
Assalamu alaikum, Nowruz Mabak to everybody. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. Let me start by saying thank you to Lord Lily and Botha, of course. Botha Hopkins, a real powerhouse, organising this event. And I'd just like to say thank you to you both for the invitation. I'd like to say greetings to all ambassadors as well, because it's such a great big turnout here. We have ambassadors and ministers from Azerbaijan, Kyrgyzstan, we have ambassadors from Uzbekistan as well, I'm seeing, just from everywhere. And it's a real honor to be in your presence, knowing that you represent your countries and you're here today. And the reason I wanted to be here and so anxious to speak to you all is to say how important I see London's international reach, reaching out to communities all over the world. If I'm elected Mayor of London, City Hall will be a crossroads for the world. I'll welcome in all people from all across the world, so we can talk, we can build friendships, we can build businesses, we can meet people's families, and we can learn from your culture and understand the lessons we need to learn from the rest of the world. I'd really like to do that. And of course, Nowruz is a time for new beginnings, for a new year. And of course, we know above all, the world, more than maybe ever before, needs a fresh start. We certainly need a fresh start here in London. So we're happy to be at this celebration at this time. And I know that the celebrations are very different this year. We won't be able to sit around a half-seen table with our families and play music and eat food and enjoy others' company. But we are coming to the end of this dark time. We are coming to the end. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel with the vaccination program, not just here in Britain, where we've done a very good job, but across the world. So again, it's really great to meet all of our neighbours and say hello. And again, enjoy Nowruz. It's such a great time, such a celebration. And I'm just so proud that I've been able to come here, meet all the ambassadors as well, and just say thank you for your presence, thank you for the work, and thank you for reaching out the hand of friendship. And if I'm Mayor of London, I'll greatly receive that hand of friendship, shake it, and we can build great relationships. Because of course, London has communities from around the world. So one more time, Nowruz Peruz, great to see you all, and thank you for the opportunity, Lord Lily and Botha Hopkins. Thank you.
Well, this is excellent. Sean Belly, thank you very much for joining us today. And we are really pleased that you are a candidate. And you know that Conservative Friends of Eurasia is behind you. There are over 1 million people live in London, in the UK. And it's a huge, really huge number of people who are really keen to support you. And as you promised, I would like just to take your promise that when you'll become a Mayor of London, we would like to celebrate Nowruz at the Trafalgar Square, if that can be possible.
I'll say this, if I can't get it at Trafalgar Square, we definitely will do it at City Hall. I'll have you in London's living room, at the top of London's living room, and we could be there, we could meet there, and I can celebrate Nowruz with you face to face, which I'd love to do.
Thank you very much, Sean, and thank you really very much. And Sean, you've got really a very humble background, which really touches all people. And we wish you sincerely, we wish you to win mayoral election. And we're going to really campaign for you day and night in order for you to become a Mayor of London. And also, thank you very much for taking your time to participate at our event.
Thank you for the invite.
Will be behind you. And next speaker is Polat Mamadov, He's Ambassador of Azerbaijan. From Ambassador of Azerbaijan. Polat, over to you. From the Embassy of Azerbaijan, Polat Mamadov.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me?
Yes. Oh, brilliant. Nice to see you.
Well, thank you, Botta. Thank you so much. Minister Morton, Deputy Ministers, Ambassadors, dear friends, thank you so much for your kind invitation, and it's a great pleasure to be able to celebrate Nowruz, be it virtually with you today. I would like to express my appreciation to the Conservative Friends of Eurasia, Lord Lily, Potter Hopkinson, patrons, of course, among them our good friend, Bob Blackman, who is the chairman of Azerbaijan APBC, for everything you do to support our efforts to promote our common and rich cultural heritage in the UK. And Minister Morton and Baroness Uddin, thank you so much for your warm words about your visits to Azerbaijan. I'm so delighted to hear you loved it, and we all look forward, of course, to strengthening our bilateral relationships in the years ahead. It's so fantastic to see this turnout and interest from the UK government, from the parliamentarians, and from the London mayoral candidate. We heard from the distinguished speakers today about international recognition of Nowruz. I believe today's event is another manifestation of this recognition. It shows this ancient festival of spring has now become an established festival in the calendar of this great multicultural city of London. With our friends in Central Asia, we have this proud tradition of marking Nowruz together in different parts of the UK. Albeit this year this is virtually, I think this is an excellent example of promoting our shared cultural heritage together, and I hope we'll be able to continue this tradition physically next year. Previous speakers covered pretty much that might be said about Nowruz. There's very little to add to what has already been said. And in Azerbaijan, this is part of our national identity. It is perhaps the most important holiday in the country and celebrated nationally. As mentioned earlier, Nowruz is closely associated with optimism, hope for better and brighter days ahead. It's also about new beginnings, new life, and new friendships. It also means togetherness and celebrating it in the presence of your family and of your community. And in that sense, it is a family and community festival as well. I believe this is also the perfect time for reflection, reflecting on the past year and looking ahead to doing things perhaps in a better way and differently. And exactly a year ago, pandemic started to hit everybody in the world, and the last year has been really tough and hard for everyone, and everyone has been impacted in one way or another. In that regard, I wish to make this wish that this year's Nowruz marks the beginning of the end of this pandemic-related hardships, and this coming year brings happiness, peace, and serenity to all your lives. Without further ado, from Ambassador Tahir Tagizadeh, who unfortunately couldn't make us today join us because of his travels overseas, and my colleagues at the embassy, I wish you and your loved ones a very peaceful, happy, and better days ahead. I wish Nowruz brings you joy, happiness, and good health. Happy Nowruz to each and every one of you, to our friends in Central Asia, to the people of Azerbaijan, and of course, our great community in the UK. Last but not least, I have the pleasure of inviting you to enjoy national Azerbaijani instruments performance, tar, kemancha, and nagara. Happy Nowruz to you all. Bayramınız mübarek. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. This is a brilliant piece, and it's really excellent to hear such a beautiful, really traditional music from Azerbaijan. And please, can you convey our sincere thanks to the ambassador for his contribution to this event. And now I just received a text message from Bob Blackman raising that the national 1 minute silence for the victims of COVID. And I would like us all to honor that by 1 minute silence, please. Thank you very much to you all for showing your respect, and I would like now to ask Bob Blackman, and Bob, thank you very much for really timely texting me. I would like to introduce Bob Blackman. He is a long-standing member of Parliament for East Harrow, and he is a patron of the Conservative Friends of Eurasia. Bob Blackman, now over to you.
Thank you, Bota, and Nowruz Mubarak to all. Can I say that obviously we've just commemorated the victims of COVID, and I think across the world there's not a country that's not been touched by COVID, and clearly we have to honour all the victims and say thank you to all the medical staff who've done a brilliant job in trying to ensure that we can have some degree of normality back in our lives. And indeed, the development of the vaccine has been a fantastic team effort. And we look forward to that being rolled out, not just in the UK, but across the world, so that we can ensure that we can get back to a degree of normality. And I hope that we in the United Kingdom can be leaders in ensuring that that happens. I'd like to pay tribute to Bota and all of Conservative Friends of Eurasia for the sterling work you do to bring together people from disparate countries in together to not only to celebrate the Nowruz and other aspects of religion, but also the various different cultures. And in actual fact, on reflection on looking at today's programme, one of the advantages that we've had of now going to Zoom, Teams, or all sorts of other video technologies is that we can bring together people across the world, and we can celebrate different cultures without forcing everyone to travel to one place. And I think that is, we've obviously had some wonderful musical renditions, and we've been able to celebrate the music of different countries, but combined with the joy of celebrating the coming of spring. We all take the view that spring is a time for renewal, an opportunity for the weather to improve, for crops to be planted, and the earth to renew itself. And obviously, spring is celebrated throughout the world, but Nowruz obviously is a great time of joy and indeed needs to be celebrated right across the piece. I declare my interest as the chairman of your party parliamentary group for Azerbaijan. I've had the opportunity of visiting Azerbaijan many times over the past 11 years, and I look forward to visiting once again I hope that together we will be able to celebrate visiting other countries as well within Eurasia. But I particularly want to mention, obviously, the liberation of Nagorno-Karabakh and the opportunity, should they so wish, for the internally displaced persons to be able to return to the region of their birth and certainly of their ancestry. And I trust that now that the fighting has ended, that actually people from Armenia and Azerbaijan can live together side by side in harmony, because I think that is the most important thing that can come out of the conflict. Can I pay tribute to all the Foreign Office ministers and the ambassadors for taking the time and trouble to be with us today as well, and sharing your views and your greetings on such an auspicious occasion. So I end by wishing everyone a very happy Nowruz. I hope that the new beginning, certainly in the United Kingdom, we're looking forward to the easing of the lockdown, easing of restrictions that are taking place, and that next year, when we celebrate Nowruz, we can come together physically and celebrate face to face, as opposed to looking at each other on a screen. Isn't that something to look forward to? And indeed, let us hope that that comes to pass even faster than we would hope. Thank you for allowing me to contribute, Bota, and I trust that we will enjoy the rest of the proceedings.
Thank you really very much. I mean, you're doing extremely a huge job on human rights. And I know that I would like to congratulate you on your appointment as Vice Chair of Commonwealth APPG this month. And you're part of Eurasia, you've been part of our group from day one. And you're honorable patron, and thank you very much for your huge contribution today. And we have here at our event, our guest, and we're very pleased that Bob Stewart, Member of Parliament, has joined us. And Bob Stewart, he's a British politician for many years, and he's a member for Beckenham, but he's also chairman of APPG for Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. Bob, over to you.
Thank you, Bota. Really, it was a really question, a comment, really. Great, very nice to have this event in Nowruz. And Ambassador Ilan, from me, I hope my Nowruz video that I sent was acceptable to Kazakhstan, and it went off okay. Aigul, I don't think I did one for Kyrgyzstan, but I would willingly have done one if you'd asked me. But I'm afraid Ambassador of Kazakhstan is always good. I'm under orders from him, as he's in command of me. I'm his general, as he says. But can I just say, on behalf of everyone, thank you very much, Bota, for that great roundup of presentations by ambassadors and countries. But I'm now going to do a sort of commercial. And that commercial is for Kazakhstan. One of the things, since I've been the chair of the all-party group for Kazakhstan, I watched with huge admiration as the Astana International Financial Center has been set up. Now, this financial center in Nur-Sultan now is really the hub for the whole of Eurasia, and it's growing and growing and growing. By the end of 2019, I think it had 235 companies attached to it. It was aiming for 500 by the end of 2020. I don't know whether it achieved that. But frankly, I think it's great news for all the countries of Eurasia that we have now this financial center that's going from strength to strength. And I just ask my friend, the ambassador, Aigul, not Aigul, sorry, ambassador for Kazakhstan. I'm not your general, I'm the general of the Embassy of Kazakhstan. I just asked the ambassador, can he just brief everyone on how this Eurasian Financial Center is blooming at the moment? That's my question, Bota.
It's performing absolutely well. Thank you, Bob, for your kind words. And it's growing, and we have over 200 participants now in the financial center in Astana. And of course, English common law is marching very proudly in the steps of Great Eurasia. Thank you for highlighting the Astana Financial Center and the English law in our territory.
I'm your general, Erlan, and I have to do what you tell me. You didn't actually tell me this, but I do actually think you're such a strategic positioning. Anyway, enough of the advert. It's great for the region. It's really good, and it's great to have taken part this afternoon. Now, this afternoon, 12:15. Thank you so much, Bota, for letting me take part in this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bob Stewart, and thank you for your contribution and for your question. And now I would like to thank all our participants, namely Tahir, special thanks again and again to ambassadors, our friends now. We work very closely, and I'm really grateful for your participation, for your support and partnership. And my special thanks on behalf of Conservative Friends of Eurasia goes to Tahir Tajikistan, Ambassador of Azerbaijan, Yerlan Idrisov, Ambassador of Kazakhstan, Aigul Bayzalov, Ambassador of Kyrgyzstan, Masud Khalifzada, Ambassador of Tajikistan, and Said Rustam, Ambassador of Uzbekistan. And also my special thanks for really special support from outstanding speakers and outstanding support from governments. And I would like again to thank our speakers who spoke today, excellent speeches and excellent really presentation, and also emphasized a lot on friendship between United Kingdom and Eurasia. And specifically, I would like to thank you, Wendy, Morton, and Ambassador Aigul Kuspan, Mr. Nuran Niyazaliev, Mr. Muzaffar Huseinzoda, Mr. Sherzod Asadov, Baroness Uddin, Nickie, Aiken, Member of Parliament, Bob Blackman, and Sean Belly. Thank you very, very much, and we really greatly appreciate your partnership, your support, and we look forward very much working with you all in the future. Thank you to the audience. We've got more than 200 people now joined our event, and we look forward to for you to joining our future events. Once again, a special thank you to our treasured, special, and outstanding President, Lord Peter Lilly. And I would like just to pass now for the closing comments to Lord Peter Lilly.
Thank you, Bota, and thank you to all the ministers, ambassadors, MPs, and others for your kind Nowruz greetings and the wonderful contributions, cultural contributions we had, which were so lively, joyous, and vibrant. Sean, I think, indicated that we think of Britain and London as the centre of the world, but of course, geographically, Eurasia and Central Asia is the centre of the world. And you have a long and fruitful history, and as we've seen, a wonderfully rich culture, which we're happy to purloin and bring to London and join in your celebrations as we've done today. I should have mentioned at the beginning, of course, to Christians, Easter has many echoes of Nowruz as a spring festival. It's the ultimate celebration of the permanent restoration of harmony between God and humankind, and the defeat of death by love. So I send my Easter greetings about 10 days in advance, as well as my Nowruz greetings to everybody who's participated this, and end by thanking in particular all those who've participated in setting up this splendid event, the ambassadors who've been involved, Maxat, who's made sure that it works electronically infinitely better than most Zoom calls I take part on, which invariably break down in the middle, and above all, Bota for all her indefatigable work in setting it up. Thank you all, and happy Nowruz and a joyful year ahead.
Hear, hear.
Thank you very much. And I sincerely apologize, but I didn't mention Mr. Fariz Rzayev, Deputy Foreign Minister of Azerbaijan. It is not that I've forgotten. It is because they joined last, and they are standing in my program first. But I hope they will forgive me. And I'd like to thank you, Azerbaijan Embassy, and specifically Mr. Fariz Rzayev. Please forgive me if I did mention your name, please. And thank you very much to all of you. And we look forward very much for future events, for your support, for continuous friendship, and for cooperation, and for strengthening relationship, cultural, educational trade between, with a huge support from our Lord Lily, who supports us strongly, and to improve our relationship and strengthen between the United Kingdom and Eurasia, Central Asia, and Azerbaijan. Thank you very much. Nowruz Mubarak. Wish you all health, prosperity, success, wealth to you and to your family. Thank you very much for joining us today. Bye-bye.